Welcome, everyone. Glad to see everyone who made it. Hopefully the weather wasn't too bad out there for you to be able to make this meeting. A couple things that we need to talk about. I appreciate everyone putting their club name on to their name so we could see where you're from. Vince, any housekeeping that needs to be done on your side? Any pressing statements or anything?
No, I'll do that at the end.
All right.
Okay.
Then let me introduce our facilitator for this evening's meeting, which is being a club president. Dr. Mary Burge is a past district governor, and she's held many of the positions in this district and the previous district that she was in, 7330. She has been a facilitator and presenter at zones and at the International Assembly, which is where all the district governor-elects go to get trained. And she is just finishing up this year. She'd probably seen Vince there while she was there. Mary's from the Johnstown Club. Mary, take it away.
All right, well, thanks for having me. And I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight for this PrePets session. We know your time is really valuable these days, as always, even more so now that there is no sort of time limit to our lives at this point. Work comes at all hours. So I do want to do a couple housekeeping things before we get started. If everyone would please mute yourselves down at the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, you'll find a little mute button. If you would just click on that and keep that muted before and after you talk, that will keep all the background noise away while others are sharing. So if you are not muted now, go ahead and mute yourself, or Tom Fallon will mute you for us. All right, and gallery view is your best view for this series. And speaker view also works, but I think gallery view for a facilitated discussion works best so that you can get a whole idea of who's talking and who's raising hands and that sort of thing. On that note, to raise hands, when I do ask for a question and want to get feedback from the group, if you would just put your hand up in front of your camera like so, versus using the reaction button. The reaction button causes a lot of chaos, and I never know if it's a thumbs up, a clap, or a wave. So just your hand up, and I will try to make sure to get everybody in the order that I see them. If I miss you, start making the waves so I be sure to get to you. And I'll try to get to everyone that we can. Hopefully we'll have a lot of robust dialogue in today's discussions, but we are on a time limit, so I will ask you to be bright but brief in your responses. We all want to share some stories, but do try to keep your stories limited to just the tidbits of the essence of what we really need to get to your point. We're going to be going into some breakout rooms today, as you have in the past. And when that happens, I'll ask for you to first assign someone in your breakout room to be the general spokesperson. And I do believe you're going to get mixed up. So you may, I think that's true. I'm not 100% sure, but if you do or don't get mixed up, which I do think you will, do try to find someone new to be the spokesperson each time so that everyone gets a chance to talk. And when we come back, I'll probably ask you for your best answers. If your best answer has already been said, go to your second best answer, and so on. If we have extra time, we can always circle back to add more in. All right, now we're going to be putting a lot of things in the chat box, is my guess. If you have questions, if you want to put up links to things that have been helpful for you, feel free to do that. And there's a great way to actually save the chat. So if you would all click on the chat box down at the bottom middle part of your screen right now, you'll see it pop up usually to the right-hand side of your screen. And you'll see down there a little button called File. You can upload your own files to the chat box for us to keep. And then if you want to save the chat, you click on those three buttons and you can then save your chat and it'll download to your computer. I can't exactly tell you where, but I have found my chats somehow. So it does save to your computer. All right, let's see. Do we have anything else on my little cheat sheet here? Let's see. I think that's it. All right. So let's just dig in. So you all have your manual in front of you, and this is the module that has been called Module 7, Being a Club President. So I want you to first think about, what are some of the unique characteristics of your clubs? Because we have, it looks like about 15 to 20 different clubs represented easily here. And I would imagine that all of your clubs are similar and yet unique. So by raising your hand, I'd like to get as many people to tell me what you think makes your club unique. And I'll call on you to speak. Tough question, huh? What makes your club unique? Okay, we've got Philomena.
Okay, I'm with the Rotary Club of Latrobe, and we represent the city of Latrobe, which does have some historic meaning, only because we have Arnold Palmer there and we have Mr. Rogers there, and we're very involved in both of those aspects of the town, and we partner a lot with the the Latrobe Chamber. We do a lot of events that kind of center around some of the historic things in our area, and we're very involved with our high schools, but I know a lot of other clubs are. But I think what makes ours unique is just the historic aspect of the city of Latrobe.
All right, thank you so much. All right, anybody else thinking about their club and find a unique feature or characteristic about your club? Kim, is that your hand up or a thumbs up?
Yeah.
Just do this so I make sure I know.
Thumb.
Okay.
Yeah,
Kim,
it's a
go ahead.
synecdoche. My thumb is part of my hand. No, I think, well, the obvious answer to that is that we have Chuck Keller. We had Chuck Keller in the California Club, and that's how we're known, I think around. But I think being a very small town in a small community, it's very hard. It can be disheartening when when we're trying to do a job that needs a lot of people, but it's very heartening to see how many people keep coming back and how many people are constantly working and trying to achieve a kind of community level support. So I think that's unique for California.
All right, thank you. And for those of you who do not have a hand to be raised, because I can't see you because you don't have a screen on, you can use the reaction button and I should be able to see a hand up or a thumb up or anything like that. Mary Shields from Blairsville is saying that her club is unique in that it is small and personal and everyone knows each other very well. All right. Any other unique characteristics? Okay, we've got Brian.
We're a singing club. I know there's other singing clubs, but I don't think most do anymore. So we sing every meeting, several songs.
All right, thank you. Well, let me pose this question in a slightly different way. What makes you excited to be a member of your club? Why do you go every week? Michael Cashaw, Johnstown.
I actually like the people in my club.
I actually like them, he says.
I actually like the people in my club, and I go every week to see them. And the secondary benefit is being able to do things in the community. But one of the main reasons is I actually like the people in my club.
Okay, thank you, Mike. What else? Who else has an answer to that? What makes your club exciting? Rick.
Well, I like the Burl Nukin Club. Number one, we just combined clubs. We've been doing a lot of the same things in different parts of the same area, and now we're able to do it all together. And we've been together almost a year now, not officially, but we've been together. And everyone everyone joins in, everybody helps. So I like getting to know the new people from the other club, and all of us working to combine it into one. So that's what I think is great about our club.
Okay, great. And Sheila from Delmont Salem says that she too feels that the relationships are important for her as the main characteristic that makes her want to be a part of that club or excited to be a club, and as well as the impact, of course, that they have on their community. Anything else someone would like to report on as to what makes your club an exciting place to be a member? And maybe your answer comes from somebody else in your club, but why would someone really want to join your club? What makes it an exciting place to be a member? All right, Kemet, and then Tom.
We make our meetings fun. Like, we have a fun word of the week and a joke of the week. And I mean, there's just a lot of laughing and, you know, business gets done, but it's almost like a family gathering rather than a meeting.
Okay, family gathering, it's fun, and you guys do some jokes, so that's great. All right, Tom.
I guess two things. One, we normally do whatever the special day is, you know, whether it be whatever the calendar says the day is. Joke of the day or something like that. We all have to tell a joke. It's kind of fun. You have to be prepared to go because you have to know what the idea is. But I think because most of us are individual business owners, we don't have a storefront or anything like that. We don't see people too often. So coming to our Rotary Club is our way of seeing people in our community.
So really kind of like Paul Harris and his buddies was a way of getting together and connecting in fellowship, not just to do service, but the connection of fellowship.
Yep.
Thanks, Tom. Anybody else want to report on what makes their club interesting, unique, or an exciting place to be? Anything different?
This is Tom McClovic from the Braddock Club. And I think what makes our club interesting is different personalities and backgrounds and businesses that we have in our club. I think that there's a lot of diversity, men, women, and we all enjoy. Actually, what we have almost 90%, 100% attendance every week. 10 or 11 people join for lunch every Thursday at noon because we enjoy being with one another, and we have guests. Last week, a couple weeks ago, we had the police chief from North Braddock and talking about, you know, issues and such. So it's informative, it's local, and enjoy seeing everybody. And with COVID, you're glad to get the heck out of the house.
So true. Thank you, Tom. All right, Colleen has a point. Go for it, Colleen.
Yeah, I had posted in the chat box that I like that our clubs in the Valley often can unite behind a common purpose, like we united to do something for the hospital, and many of us have representatives from the hospital within our club, and that we do support each other. I mean, right now, Bell Vernon's missing out on a big fundraiser they typically have. Tonight, I would not be cooking dinner. I would be having pancakes in Bell Vernon if they were having their dinner this year, you know, which they're not able to do, but I hope next year we'll be able to help them. And I hope we'll be able to help support another project that they do in some way, because we all try and support each other in some way down here.
All right, thanks, Colleen. And Harold Hicks has put into the chat that his club, which is Delmont Salem, is a can-do club that supports each other and gets things done. They are small and mighty. And yeah, I think a lot of our clubs in our district are small but mighty. I think maybe that's a similarity that some of you may share. Okay, so not always is it easy to think about the good things in our clubs as we go into becoming a president. Oftentimes you're thinking about what might be weak in our club, what might need your assistance, or what you might want to change in your club. Either way, whether you're thinking about things that are just great and strong that you want to continue or maybe grow, or you're thinking in terms of areas of weakness, what we're going to do next is we're going to go into small breakout rooms and we're going to discuss the following question. What will your priorities be when your term as president begins? So what will your priorities be as a president from the minute you hit the podium on day one? We're going to take 10 minutes in the breakout and then we're going to come back. Remember to assign someone to be your spokesperson. And we'll go, I think we're going to have 5 potentially breakout rooms. However many we have, we'll take a little bit from each group, okay? So Tom or whomever, why don't you go ahead and send everybody to their breakout rooms. We'll see you in 10 minutes. Good job. All right, I'm going to ask you to remind you to mute yourselves now so that we have no background noises interfering. Excellent. Okay, so how about from room number 1? And I don't know who was in what room. We had 6 rooms, so whoever wants to just go first, we'll call you room number 1. Raise your hand by doing this so I can see you. Who's your spokesperson for the group 1?
That was the room I was in. That was James Tallman.
Good evening. Yeah, we all had good ideas. A lot of us talked about fundraising during COVID being an issue. Gary Ford and Jerry Maynard talked about that being a struggle. Mary Shields from Blairsville. So trying to come up with ideas and ways to do fundraising during COVID. I mentioned about, for my club, being a goal would be getting new members, making the club more dynamic.
Oh, you went muted again. I'm not sure why, but you're muted, James. Sorry. Could you unmute yourself? I heard make your club more dynamic.
Right, yeah, more dynamic, more interesting, so young people would be involved, more hands-on projects, make our meetings a little bit more interesting to try to attract young people. And obviously, several of us have the issue of trying to attract new members and growing the club. Jerry from Monroeville talked about becoming more involved with his Interact Club, that they have a local Interact Club, but haven't been particularly close with it. And he wants to try to, one of his goals is to try to improve that relationship.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much, James. All right, next group, spokesperson number 2. All right, Kemet.
Hello, so I am from group number 2, and some of the priorities we're filling the board positions, if those aren't filled already, focusing on membership, restructuring committees, re-engaging the community, refreshing the weekly meetings, and especially re-engaging members because of everything going on with COVID. And we have a number of the clubs that are on Zoom and, you know, losing participation because of that. And then one thing that we brought up that we would maybe like more discussion on, with district grants being a priority, because the applications for those are so soon after the new president takes place. You know, is that a common practice that's decided by the previous administration, or if that's something that gets decided by the incoming president?
Okay, wonderful. That's a great topic. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to park it in my little 3x5 card parking lot. And if we have time, we're going to circle back to that for sure to see what everyone does and how they handle that differently. All right, group number 3, what are your priorities? All right, that'd be George.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, it seems like we're doing a common thread here. Getting back to norm by meeting in person, getting membership, younger membership to revitalize the group, getting the speaker program reestablished in one of the clubs with club participation so that there's not only 2 people when you have a guest speaker. And another point was getting people involved that have passion in their community.
Passionate people. Okay, great. All right, that was group number 3. So how about a spokesperson from group number 4? Group number
Hi,
4.
this is Rich.
Okay, hi, Rich.
How you doing? Good discussion. I mean, a lot of the same themes, basically restarting the activities, membership. Basically, Karen really had an interest in getting the Interact going again. I think that's going to be one of her driving ones, which would bring younger people into, hopefully once they get started with Rotary, they will continue afterwards. And I think that's one thing that I need to reinitiate in ours. Basically, there's also membership is declining. We need to not in front of the community anymore, so we need to continue finding other ways to do that. Jeff was actually, they've tried this, thinking about starting a second time where the meetings are. Instead of, I think they're a morning meeting club. If there's an opportunity, maybe do it different times during the day, other people could possibly attend. And Dawn mentioned fundraising on Facebook. I guess Dan was helping her set up doing some fundraising on that, which is a different way of doing it that we haven't even considered yet. So.
All right, thank you so much. Some great priorities there. It's a lot. All right, group number 5. All right, Kim.
Hi. We talked about a number of things. It's a nice segue from the previous group 4 because I at Cal U talked about trying to establish a Rotaract club, and Steve Arnowitz mentioned, as an alum of Cal U, he and his wife could really help with that, and many others around the region. Carol talked about getting accounting practices together, and that was 2 people in our club, so that was a consistent theme as well. Getting something that's consistent, and she said that Rotary is looking for a broader audience. We're unique in that we can stay part of the club. She's moved away from the club, and so this actually, it seemed to me, she was saying that this COVID situation is allowing her to remain a part of something, even though the distance is prevails. Carrie Kay from Oakland, short, sweet, and concise, and really clever. We're trying to shake it up.
Great. All right.
And Darlene from Pleasant Hills said, similar message. We need to, this is the other accounting issue. We need some new blood and to get over the resistance, but also their accounting issue is the treasurer of 30 years had been reporting according to a calendar year, and now they've got to sort all that out. So there's some challenges as well as some, ambitious goals there.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. All right, and our last group. Who is our spokesperson for group 6? Do we have a group?
Sally, we actually didn't pick one. We just started talking.
All right, Sally, you're it then.
I know. So hopefully I got a couple of them. Definitely growing membership. Another one was getting folks more involved in the different committees in each group. Mine in particular was getting some enthusiasm back in our group because of COVID. And I think somebody else mentioned using some more technology.
Okay, perfect. Excellent. These are all great priorities. And my guess is that many of you can relate to them as you think about starting your year. I want to remind you to take lots of notes during this session because these modules are going to be a great handbook for you as you reflect back and get going on and setting your plans in stone. So, all right, moving along. Marie's going to put up on our screen here under activity 7.2 in your module. I would like for you to take 1 minute and to reread the 9 bullet points asking you to, as a president-elect, and then there are 9 bullet points. Marie's going to pop that up on the stage, on the screen here if you don't have your book with you. Just take 1 minute to read through these 9 bullet points. Okay. So by raising your hand, and if Marie, if you wouldn't mind, stop sharing so I have my gallery view back. Thank you. By raising your hand again, just in front of your camera if you can, or use the chat if you'd like to talk. Tell me, to what extent have you addressed these activities in preparing to become president? To what extent have you addressed any of these activities? Maybe which ones haven't you addressed? Which ones look ominous to you? What do you think about this list? Jerry. Jerry, please unmute yourself.
There. Okay. You know, one of the things that's it's hard to get somebody to agree to be president. And historically, everybody has felt that the president pretty much does everything. So my priority, one of my priorities is going to be delegation, because you really need to get the members involved in the weekly, daily functioning of the club. They've got to own it. And
so I think, Jerry, you're going to divide this list up and conquer that way. And that's a great plan. You're frozen now, so I'm going to
outdated and so on. And we found ourselves, prior to doing that, our hands were tied as a board or as a club, because we needed board approval for so many things. Well, we eliminated some of that from the bylaws, and the bylaws are more streamlined now than they ever been. But in doing so, we also created and revamped our committees. So, and it delineates exactly what the responsibilities of each committee are. And then, so now we've got to go implement that and get those committees staffed with the members and off and running.
Okay, thanks. Divide and conquer is certainly one tactic to tackling this list. What about some of the rest of you? To what extent have you addressed these activities?
I know I have come up with a bit of a plan. It's about 4 pages long about what we do well and what I would like to see improved upon. And a good bit of it is just a bit more transparency. Particularly with our club, it seems we're always kind of trying to fumble around as to who's doing what or who's on what committee, this, that, the other. And that to me needs to be solved. Putting in a structural plan and making sure people know where they are, what they're doing, and how they work together. That's where, to me, the whole thing starts.
Great. So greater organization in your club. Fantastic. All right. Anybody else want to chime in on this? Yes, Andy, and then Rick.
So just for me, I'm just starting to get away with the list and the tasks ahead. I don't see it as too daunting. I do feel fairly blessed that a couple of people have mentioned how difficult it is to select president and what have you. I feel blessed that I already have my vice president. He's on here tonight, who will be president following me. And I feel that we're going to work together really well as a team. Don't think that's necessarily been a perfect outcome in the past, but I want to try and make it much more so this time around. We have a bunch of committees and committee members that don't know that they're on committees. So there's things like that quite simply I do want to simplify.
So I'm hearing organization and strategic planning is important for you as well.
Want to communicate better. If committees are worthless and have no value, then why do we have them in our charter to do that? So that's another thing. But the two of us will get together in the next couple of weeks and start putting our plan together. So hopefully it will be a good 2 or 3 years ahead of us.
And I like that you've already established a meeting time to do that. That's wonderful. If everyone would do that, I think, you know, we'd be light years ahead in our clubs. All right, I'm going to take one more comment, and that'll be from Rick, and then we're going to go into small groups again. Rick, y'all need you to unmute, please.
One of the things I've been thinking about a lot is the continuity of purpose and goals from year to year. I know when a new president comes in, sometimes things change totally. And the current president and I have been talking a lot about being prepared for all the things that my year will bring, and me preparing the next person for their year as well. So that's one of the things we're looking at, and that encompasses a lot of stuff. So just wanted to share that.
Thank you so much. Okay, we're going to go into breakout rooms again, and you'll probably be mixed up. So we're going to take 10 minutes, and I want you to continue to discuss what are your opportunities as a president, and what are some of your hurdles ahead of you or roadblocks. Each club is very unique in this way. I think all of you, from what I just heard, have some hurdles. So I want you to continue that discussion. What are your opportunities and what are your hurdles? Go ahead and Marie, send them on out, and we'll see you in 10 minutes. All right, I think we're all back. Getting there just about. Everyone's coming back into the rooms. Welcome back. Please make sure you are muted until it's your turn to talk. So now this is going to get tight here. I want your #1 best answer for what the best opportunity is for one of your clubs, and the most difficult hurdle that you heard in your discussion. So just one of each. So take a look at your list. And whoever is ready first, show me your hand, and we'll go to that spokesperson for whatever group you're in. All right, Kemet, and then Rich.
Okay, so we were room 2. Our biggest opportunity was being able to use what we learned from last year's the pandemic and using those, you know, new maybe fundraisers or whatever we had learned. The biggest hurdle is wanting to be able to change and push boundaries, but not making the existing members upset.
Ooh. I would imagine a lot of people can relate to those two things. Okay, great work, room 2. All right, Rich, I think you're a spokesperson for one of the rooms. What room were you in?
We're room 4.
All right, go for it, room 4.
So the biggest hurdle we had was, of course, the fundraisers. We lost either sponsors, I lost facilities. So that was our biggest hurdle, try to get the fundraising back to at least where it was before, if not more. A similar vein, Denny mentioned they lost their 2 main indoor fundraisers. So they're having a cornhole tournament in August to do fundraising and maybe have some food trucks come in and things of that sort. So similar vein, both opportunity and a hurdle.
Okay, interesting. So fundraising can be both, really.
Yep.
Think outside the box. Okay, thank you so much, room 4. All right, who's ready to go? All right, we have Tom. What room were you in?
We were in group 6, and we noted that sometimes the obstacle presents a opportunity. As an example, with the COVID and people not meeting, and the kids not being at school. One of the club, I think it was Philomena's group, started a backpack project, and provided food, and they did the packing of the bags every week, and so I think that it's not always a negative. You got to work a negative into a positive. Other groups noticed a slack off in fundraising. They couldn't participate, but they're working on their reserves and trying to do new projects. Our club, for example, we had the most successful fundraising, maybe because of the COVID, because more people saw a need for local participation and contributions. So we had a very, very successful fundraiser this year. So.
All right. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate that. All right. We've got 3 more rooms to go. Who wants to go next?
Okay.
All right. We have James.
Room number 1. What Komet said was the biggest hurdle. That was definitely the biggest hurdle that we referenced. But the second, similarly, was trying to get people that haven't always been involved. So making the membership as a whole feel engaged. So getting to know your members, getting to make everybody feel engaged and participate, and not just have the same 5-10 people run the club year after year after year. And that's obviously a challenge. And then introducing new members and getting them involved as well as they come on, training them and getting them involved.
All right. Excellent. Thank you. All right. We got 2 rooms left. Number 1 opportunity, biggest hurdle. John.
All of us have got challenges related to COVID, and that's clearly the biggest hurdle, however it impacts us. And one of the folks in my room, in their community, there was a need to improve a recreational facility, and they participated as far as funding and providing, labor, and came out of that with 2 new members. And it just seemed that it was a way to address a lot of issues. Probably opportunities exist in each of our communities.
Okay, great. All right, last one. I don't see any hands up. Is that everybody? Oh, we've got Tom. Okay.
I'll speak for our committee there. I guess one of the biggest hurdles, and this goes for a lot of things, is technology. I think we weren't prepared to do things online or through the internet. So even the simplest trying to get members together on a Zoom meeting, is kind of a hurdle it's attainable, but it's nonetheless a hurdle that we have to realize now. But on that note, I think it's still the opportunity of growth amongst our clubs because of this kind of pause that a lot of us have had to bring back people refreshed and new after this pause.
All right, great. Thank you so much. I think all the clubs here can probably relate to most of those hurdles, as well as the opportunities. And I heard several of you say how a hurdle can be an opportunity if we think outside the box or try to address it that way. So that's just wonderful. I think you guys have a great year ahead of you. All right, so moving right along. So I'm going to have Marie put up on a share screen here, and I would like for you to take 2 minutes to either on your paper or on the screen to read the bullet point list in front of you, which is labeled as president. Marie, could you scroll a bit for us? There are a few more down the next page.
Is that the green bar, Mary?
No, you've still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more bullets to that list.
Okay, well.
Okay, well, they're not going to be on your screen then for those.
They're not going to be on your screen. We can shoot those back in an email.
Well, they
Sorry,
should.
I did not include those.
That's okay. Everyone's got them in their module. I'll give you another minute or so.
I have it up on my page if you want me to share it. If you want to switch over real quick, Marie.
All right, if I could have the gallery back. Great. And if someone who has their paper copy in front of you would be willing to read out loud for us the little gray box, Becoming an Effective Leader, 7 Simple Rules. Who would read that for me? All right, Stephen. Unmute yourself. Great. Stephen, I can't hear you, dear. You're muted. Can't hear you, Stephen. You're muted. There we go.
Becoming an effective leader, 7 simple rules. Step 1, lead by example. Step 2, take responsibility for your team's decisions. Step 3, always keep a positive attitude. Step 4, trust, both in yourself and your team. Step 5, look for opportunities for growth for your team. Step 6, delegate already. Step 7, finally, embrace chaos.
All right, great list. Okay, so thinking about this very long 22 bullet point list of things that you're going to need to do as president, that makes me think about setting some goals, right? I mean, absolutely setting some goals if you're expecting to lead by example. So somebody raise their hand and tell me, why is setting goals so important when you're going to lead a club? Let's get a few answers out there. Why is it important to set goals? All right, Andy.
I think the simple one is, if you don't have something defined and laid out, how can you possibly measure yourself as to how successful you've been?
The goals help us to measure our outcome, whether or not we're even making headway. Absolutely. Thank you. Michael Cashaw.
Roadmap tells you where you're going, where you've been, and where you're trying to get to.
A roadmap, where we're going and where you've been. All right. And Rich.
Trying to get everybody on the same page so they're all going down the same path.
Get everyone on the same page, same path. Jerry, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, that was pretty much what I was going to say. If you have a vision of where you want to go, you have to be able to articulate that and so that others can understand it and buy in.
Yeah, if you don't tell your club what you hope for, right? What the opportunities are, how will they know what you want to do? So absolutely great responses. And that takes us to our next breakout session. All right, so what we're going to be talking about is the third question on your page 4. And before you really dig in and answer that question, which is, membership is an important issue for clubs. What plans are you and the membership chair planning or committee planning to maintain to increase membership? I want you to think about what's in that green box on page 4. It's called Start Your Club on a Path to Vibrancy. I want you to read that as a group. And in thinking with those things in mind, answer question number 3 about membership. 10 minutes, folks. It goes fast. See you soon. All right, we're getting everybody back here, almost full, about 3/4 of the way. All right, great. And as a reminder, please mute yourselves as you come back into the room. And we are all back. It looks like all 43 of us. All right, terrific. So again, let's talk about your best idea, your number one idea for either maintaining and or increasing membership. Your best idea. We've got 12 minutes left in this supposedly stopping at 8 o'clock group. So I'd like to get all of your answers and try to keep you on time. If we go over a smidgen, we'll allow it. But all right, group number whatever, hands up, let's go. All right, we've got Philomena. Unmute yourself, please.
So I'm in group room 6. So the one that was a common one was having speakers that end up becoming members. I've had that in my group, and one of the other groups said that they've had that. Another one, a current member that was leaving actually brought in another employee or coworker to become a member. I know my group's starting a satellite club. So those were the things that we discussed.
Your hot topics. Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Yeah, a lot of satellites club starting out there. I'm hearing more and more of that. So, all right, who's next? Who wants to be spokesperson? We've got Karen.
All right. So our group came up with not only the satellite creation, but also name recognition, announcing, our scholarship groups, show up at the schools, student of the month, do food bank stuff for the local establishment, corporate membership, one. So enticing the community members like the mayor, the police chief, stuff like that. So
Right.
those
I
were
think
the
that's
top.
a really underutilized tactic, actually, for bringing in new membership is the corporate membership. So if you're not familiar with that, check that out on Rotary.org. You can look up more about corporate membership, but that's a very underutilized tactic. So great. Thank you, Karen. All right. Who's next? Hot ideas for membership. Okay, Stephen.
Fox Chapel Rotary is very fortunate in that we have a wonderful chair of the PR department, and we've been able to secure a very firm relationship with the local newspaper, the Herald, which covers the Allegheny Valley. And as a result of that relationship, everything that we accomplish on a societal basis is nicely covered in the paper. And I think that has enabled us to reach out and speak with the community on a very, very positive note. I'm very pleased with that. He's also the head of the e-bulletin, which is going out to more and more clubs about our activities and what we're going to be doing goal-wise. The most recent email bulletin concerned the 5 burglaries that occurred in Fox Chapel on one street in less than an hour. And so he brought a lot of attention to that, and he's doing a great job. So I think we're very fortunate in our ability to communicate with the community through various media outlets.
All right. Thank you very much, Stephen. All right. Another group, our 4th group, wherever you are. We've got Kemet.
So Murraysville Export shared that they kind of adopted a project, a movement that they joined called End Plastic Soup that they learned about at the Germany International Conference. They have a committee that's formed within their own club. They're going to be doing a recycled art contest for local youth, as well as outreaching to businesses to see how their Rotary Club might be able to help them be more eco-friendly. So just the use of that cause as getting their name out there and getting potential new members.
Okay, great. And Camet, I don't know if you could do a quick Google search on that, but if you can and throw a link up to it in the chat box, that would be awesome. I don't know if it'll come up or not, but I know you're good with tech. So,
Sure thing.
all right. Who's got a fifth group out there who wants to give us your best idea for membership? Where are you, fifth and sixth group? There's two more groups out there. All right, Tom.
So I think what we've heard a lot of is leadership. There's not a line of leadership anywhere. So promoting Rotary as an opportunity for young people to lead so they have experience prior to maybe getting a job or promotion at work.
Excellent. Absolutely. It's one of our core values is leadership. So thank you for that. All right, our last group, where are you? Here we are. James, go for it.
We've had a lot of ideas discussed, but and some of them have already been discussed by other groups. But I guess one in particular would be just having dynamic sort of hands-on projects, particularly maybe in the area of sustainability, that seems to be of interest to young people. So if you have projects that seem to be, whether it's reusing, repurposing items or sustainability or environmental projects in general, but then also just having hands-on projects seems to be something that younger people like to be involved, as opposed to just showing up and writing a check every so often.
Absolutely. No more, the shake and grab where you grab the check and shake someone's hand, And I want to remind you all that our areas of focus are now called causes. Makes a lot more sense to the public to just call what we focus on as causes. And there are 7, don't forget now. So if you can somehow work environmental cause into your year, you have a great new opportunity of attracting a whole new group of people who are very interested in that area, that cause. So think of that as a potential tip. All right.
Mary,
yes, Tom.
May I add something? We didn't speak.
Sure, if you take 30 seconds, and then I have to turn it over to our district governor-elect. Go for it.
There are certain people in the community that the membership is paid for. Your postmaster, if you're in town, if they join, it's paid by the post office. Sometimes the municipality or township or the borough will pay it too for the borough secretary or borough manager. So you should always try to challenge that person or get them in.
All right, that's a great resource. I did not know that. So that's great. Thank you so much. Well, I want to thank you all for your active participation, your great ideas. There was just great respect amongst sharing in there. It was I felt like it was a good session with a lot of quality and robust discussion. I'm going to turn it back now over to our district governor-elect, Vince. Take it away, Vince.
Thank you, Mary, and thank you for moderating this tonight's program. I think we all did a great job. A lot of good discussion, a lot of good ideas. People were already thinking and planning ahead. So next week, that's what we're going to cover. We're going to be looking at the Rotary citation and the district's Crystal citation to give you some ideas of what type of goals we would like to support for the clubs themselves. And a lot of you have already mentioned exactly what we're going to be what we'll be reviewing next week. There's a comment about the district grants, and yes, you should be starting now to think of a program you want to support and applying for a grant so that it's available, or the application is available by August of this year. No need to wait. Start now. I mean, this is extremely important. We have over $70,000 for next year for district grants, so there's plenty of opportunity there. Also, a lot of discussion about membership, and so I'm going to segue over to the membership summit, which starts this Thursday. If you haven't registered, I encourage you to register as soon as possible. I'm sure everyone has gotten their email about this. A lot of interesting ideas about increasing membership, engaging members. This is the membership summit is going to go through all these various opportunities. So again, if you haven't registered, let's get registered. You might consider this part of your continued president-elect training. Is there any questions anyone has for me? Any concerns?
For anyone that didn't register, you can go right to the district's website and register from there too.
Okay, well,
I
go ahead.
I didn't get a chance to register, but I'm attending, obviously. Do I need to register in order to, quote, be in attendance?
You do, because those that are registered, that's where they're going, that's where they're
Okay.
sending the emails from. So when
Okay,
information
thank
goes
you.
out.
One more point. You need to register for pets. Right now, I know 41 president-elects who are already registered. So 50%, we need to get as many more involved as possible. I think everyone on this line right now or on this Zoom meeting is registered. But if you haven't, please register. Kamala?
Is that on DACDB, the registration?
For
For
pets,
pets, yes.
it was in the emails that you get from Vince each week. I
Okay,
just threw it in the chat too.
okay,
When his email goes out after tonight, it'll be in there again.
okay, cool. I think I was waiting for it to pop up on DACDB, so okay.
I'll check. If it's, I think it is. If not, I'll make sure it is.
Okay. With that, I think that's it. Thank you, everyone. Great session. I'm looking forward to next week. Take care.